Welcome back to another episode of Woo with Proof. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to Tara Brunet. She is just crushing it in the dream body manifestation space. And she has so much to offer, so much gold. Every time I see one of your posts, I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl is incredible. Not only is she a wealth of information, but she is a living embodiment of what she teaches. And I just think what you do is so powerful and so profound. And you just happen to be the first guest on the new podcast. So thank you
What an
so
honor.
much.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to dive in. I feel like we are just like so aligned on everything we talk about and yeah, it's going to be such a good one.
So tell me a little bit about like you, your backstory, how you even got into manifestation and like the body stuff.
Okay, yeah. So how I got into this whole space. So I kind of the longer version, not too long, was I really struggled with an eating disorder for about 17 years. So like anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, and it was particularly binge eating that was like the longest stretch of my life. And through that struggle, I was determined to figure out, how to lose weight. So I became, a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, an aquafit instructor, a every single type of instructor, spin instructor, and I became a holistic nutritionist. And I was like, I'm going to open a gym, and I just did this whole journey of I was the personal trainer, fitness girl, but behind closed doors, like I was deeply struggling and completely out of control with binge eating. And I'll never forget, like, the time I kind of came out with my binge eating disorder. I wrote a blog post about it, and the outpouring of support was so incredible. And essentially, over the years of owning the gym, what I really saw in my clients, the ones that were very successful and lost, 80 to 100 pounds and just had these amazing results, it wasn't so much like all my clients were doing the same thing. They were like following my nutrition plan, they were working out with me, but it was their mindset, it was their beliefs, it was the way in which they approached what I was doing. So I really started to get into kind of the mindset of things, and I got super into manifestation and listening to all the podcasts and going to Tony Robbins and drinking the Kool-Aid on terms of the mindset shifts. And once I got into that, I was like, there's no going back. Like, I wanted to do this full time. So I started teaching about manifestation online and kind of transitioned my whole business and closed out the gym and started teaching about manifesting your dream body because I just recognized like the power was in the mindset that was creating the results way more than who was doing the most workouts and who was following the nutrition plan perfectly. And it was so clear to me after, hundreds of case studies and all my clients that it was the beliefs they had about themselves, about their body, about food, about fitness that led to the results. So that's when I started just doing that work full time.
Wow. I mean, I've been in the manifestation space for a long time too. And with the body manifestation stuff, I feel like that is such a unique space and there's so much complexity to that. And I think there's also so many misconceptions when it comes to it as well.
Mhm.
And also just in manifestation in general. So I'm curious now, 10 years later, a decade later, are there things about manifestation that you once believed that you don't anymore?
Yes, totally. I mean, yeah, it changes so much over the years, but one of the main things was believing you need to be super high vibe all the time in this energy. And when I forgot to mention, I manifested it's 50 pounds now because I've lost more weight since I started recoding, which we'll talk about. But I manifested a 50-pound weight loss, completely healed from my binge eating disorder and bulimia and all of those things, and live a life of just total food freedom now. And I recognized, high vibe all the time about my body. I'm just like, this is just who I am. This is my identity now. And when I really recognized that, it wasn't about getting into this super high energy space in order to manifest it. It was about making it normal. It's about making it just who you are, part of your identity. And it doesn't matter if I am going through, the worst time of my life or so much stress. Literally, I had a baby. We got kicked out of our rental house. We moved into a van with my dog, baby, two cats. And I lost 40 pounds. I didn't have a kitchen. I wasn't cooking. I was, postpartum. I couldn't work out. I had pelvic organ prolapse. Like, it didn't matter all the external conditions. I was very stressed. It wasn't like I was super happy all the time. And you can still manifest what you want.
I mean, that's such an interesting point because I feel like so many people feel like, oh, well, I need the perfect conditions. I need the perfect diet. I need to be working out X amount of days a week. And if those things aren't there, then, it's impossible for me to get the body that I want. And I mean, you've obviously proven that those things don't matter. So how did you do it through all of that? Like what was the differentiator for you?
Yeah, so I would say I've had 3 dream body journeys that have kind of evolved every single time to get easier every single time. So the first time I discovered this work, I was like, dream body vision board, and I would do all the things. I was visualizing, I was like doing everything. And obviously that worked. I really transformed everything. And then I lived in my dream body kind of happily ever after and got pregnant and had kind of my dream pregnancy, dream body pregnancy, I would say. And after pregnancy, because I'd already done it before, I had total belief in this process, right? Like the first time I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm kind of experimenting with this, but I was like, I already know this works. Like my mindset is everything. So even when I got like prolapse, couldn't work out, couldn't do any of the things that I normally did, couldn't have, my meal prep delivered, there was no good conditions. I was just like, I have decided that I'm going to be back in my dream body like very quickly. And it was just a decision. And because I had no limiting beliefs around it. Like my thing is kind of like, you need to clear the unconscious beliefs and conditions that are kind of standing in the way of you aligning with what you want. If you make a decision, but you don't believe it's actually going to happen and you have all of this resistance around it, like it's not going to work. But the second time around, it was just so easy. I was like literally 10 days postpartum. You could see my abs again, which it's kind of trigger is. But it's just evidence that it works.
Yeah. No, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people do have those limiting beliefs like, "Oh, well, I just had a baby, so my hormones are off. It's gonna be hard for me to lose weight." I know I just turned 40, and there's so many people that are like, "Oh, well, after 40, your metabolism slows down and your hormones
That's not
change and it's harder to lose weight." And I'm like, "Are those things real or are those just other people's limitations?"
Oh, yeah, exactly. And you know what about the metabolism? A fun fact that I like to tell people is it's actually been proven that your metabolism does not slow down between 20 and 60. So it's not the
Thank you.
metabolism.
Yeah. And sometimes we need to hear that, because there's so many people saying that, "Oh, it's going to be harder." And there was always something in my brain, in my body that was like, "Wait, no. Like, why does that have to be true?" And so, I mean, that's an amazing fact that,
Mhm.
where our metabolisms aren't slowing down. Maybe what's happening is we are adopting these belief systems and we're believing
Exactly.
in things that aren't actually real.
Yeah, and you really do need to get clear on what it is you believe. I was looking online recently. It was interesting doing I saw this post on Threads and they're like, people who lost weight breastfeeding, you're lying. That never, like, all I did was gain weight. And I thought it was so interesting because I breastfed for 2.5 years. I was one of those crunchy moms. And I decided early on, I was just like, no, that's going to lead to weight loss. There was no other option in my mind. And that's what I kind of got behind. Whereas other people have a completely different experience. And I also don't want to, like, everyone's experience postpartum. There's so much going on. I had a lot of other issues going on postpartum, but luckily I was clean about my body. So I'm not saying this is easy if you have a lot of limiting beliefs, but for me, I just felt so clean and clear about it was easy to live in my dream body. It was natural. This is who I am. My body naturally goes back to the way it was. It's designed to do so. Breastfeeding can only help because it's burning all these calories. And that's what I experienced.
Yeah, it's so much of what, like, you're telling yourself. So what do
Exactly.
you think is, like, the number one thing from your experience that keeps people stuck at the weight that they're at?
I would say that they have created so many conditions around weight loss. And because it's so normal, you scroll online, it's like, you need to eat all this protein, you need to take creatine, you need to lift weights, do Pilates, blah. There's so many rules. It's endless. And their brain has over time, especially as women, and we've grown up probably learning from our parents or grandparents. Like, luckily, it's weird that I actually developed an eating disorder because my mom has always been like totally neutral, never talked about food, never talked about her body. But there's a lot of my clients who obviously were raised in those households of almond moms, and their beliefs are so like, I have to restrict, I have to cut out everything. I have to work out every single day. And if I don't do that, I can't see results. And they've created an impossible situation where they can't possibly maintain what they believe they have to do. So they can never allow themselves to see the results. And it's like this vicious cycle. And it's like also unconsciously, like if you believe you have to be miserable for the rest of your life in order to be in your dream body, you're not going to let yourself do that. It's just not going to work. So my mission is to show that you can have total food freedom. You can live in your dream body. You can have the cake and the ice cream and the wine and the enjoyment. I never deprive myself of a single thing ever. And it gets to be easy. It gets to be like actually enjoyable and just naturally who you are. I believe we are born in bodies that are naturally thin, is how I've kind of described it. But it's just all the conditioning that we've piled on over the years that has created a different experience for us.
Totally. Do you ever notice, and this is something that I've noticed, so I've worked with clients in the past, but sometimes the physical weight that people carry is also a form of protection,
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I've had a lot of
like the
clients who are like,
emotional weight.
yes, they're like, if I lose weight, then I might be, I mean, scary things, I might be attacked, or I might be like, there are these fears of being actually seen, and it's very vulnerable. And I noticed that as well. When I lost weight the first time, it actually was a very weird experience. Having people comment on your body all the time and say, oh my God, you look so amazing. And then it's like, oh, guess I didn't look good before, even though,
Yep.
kind of weird when people start noticing, even though that's kind of what your goal was. Yeah, it can be a
Yeah.
vulnerable place to experience that.
Yeah. And the emotions, like I noticed when I was in a really toxic relationship, my body would just put on weight. And then as soon as I would get out of the relationship and it had like nothing to do with what I was eating or anything different, the weight just came off. So it was almost like a protective layer. If you think about it, like putting weight on your body is creating a distance from another or from something, right? And well, if I put on weight, then I'm not as attractive and then I'm not as threatening. That could also be some subconscious limiting belief stuff there
Yeah.
too.
100%. Yeah. And we need to be able to feel safe in our bodies. I was so unsafe in my body, like so disconnected from my body, so disconnected from my hunger, my fullness. And the whole reason I had an eating disorder was because I didn't feel safe to feel emotions. So I would eat over top of them. I didn't know how to manage them. So that is a big part of my program, is feeling safe to actually be in your body, be connected to your body, listen to the intuitive guidance of your body. It's so important, but we are completely disconnected. We're like, what's the meal plan I need to follow? When do I need to eat? I'm just going to eat what someone else tells me to eat. And they know better than I do. And we're just handing over all of our power when our body is so brilliant. Actually, crazy that we think that we could know better than our body that keeps us alive every day and creates actual humans without our input?
Yeah. I think the intuitive eating thing too can be a little bit scary, especially if you've had any sort of eating disorder or you're afraid of gaining weight. It's like, okay, well, how do I actually listen to those cues? How do I trust that? And I do find that like self-trust is a really big piece of the puzzle.
Yes, and I would say the intuitive eating journey did take me a long time to master, which is why, like, I teach it now to help you master it faster. And I did experience weight gain at first because I had to go through that process of allowing all foods, feeling safe to allow all foods, and allowing them to become neutral, because I was completely out of control around food and I had to neutralize all of them. So that was a part of my journey. That doesn't need to be a part of everyone's journey, but I will say gaining weight with intuitive eating at first was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I finally got to the point where I accepted myself as I was. And that is a crucial element to your dream body journey. If you can accept yourself where you are, even at your heaviest, and begin to actually feel safe in that current body and I started dating, I started a business, I started doing all the things I was waiting for the weight loss for. I then released so much resistance and the weight just dropped off. And that is also a huge piece of my program. We just did it this week in Hot, Happy, Healed. It's like acceptance of where you are now does not mean you stay the same. It means you release all the resistance so you can actually see the transformation.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like learning to love yourself as you are. I know that was so hard for me. I have a very similar story. Had an
Mm.
eating disorder pretty much all through my teens and 20s. I think it's one of those things that always sits in the back of your mind, and letting go of that like resistance. And then even if you do gain weight and as your body is changing, learning to look in the mirror and like what you see, that was like probably one of the hardest things for me. and having a fitness background and like I was doing bikini competitions. I had
Oh,
taken
yeah.
my body to this like pinnacle
Dream.
place where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to be that again. Know how I'm ever gonna be able to get myself because I don't wanna have to go through restricting and crazy diets and working out for 3 hours a day. Like, I don't want that." So I assumed that because I wasn't doing that anymore, I was not gonna be able to have the body that I wanted. It's like a really mental thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I have so many clients that come from the bodybuilding background. It like I'm so
It
glad I never
does.
did one of those. I never could because I was a binge eater. I like there's no possible way I could stick to one of those, but yeah. And then the rebound
But y
effect is just crazy. It's so unsustainable.
totally, and it's just dysfunctional. I mean, it's such a dysfunctional relationship with food.
Exactly. And I say to my clients all the time, like, how you get there is how you stay there. So, unless you can do this for the rest of your life, you're not going to be able to maintain those results. And because people come into intuitive eating, they're like, but the diets worked. They didn't work because you're here. That's not your fault.
Yes.
Designed not to work, but it's like you can't look at that one snippet where it worked for a few days and you maintained it for a few days and then think that it worked because it didn't work long term, you know?
Yes. Yes, I also think too, like, I don't know if you experience this, but the energy or the thought that you're putting into the food you're eating, like, let's say you're having, like, a piece of
Yes.
cake or something, and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna gain weight. This is
Yeah.
bad for me." Do you see, like, a connection to that
Oh
with
my
what you're
god, yes.
thinking?
Like, the whole woo with proof thing, like, there is so many studies that show that the perception you have of the food influences how it is being utilized in your body. You're releasing different hormones, you're releasing different hunger levels. The milkshake study where they thought they were having, like, a healthy milkshake versus a non-healthy milkshake changed the hormones that were being released. There's a book that I read recently, what is it called? Something about belief. It's really good, and there's so many crazy instances where it's like and I say this all the time, it's like, how you feel about the food is so much more important about what you're actually eating. Like, my husband all the time, he's like, if people could see what you eat every day, like, they would be absolutely shocked. Like, people don't believe. I'm like, I really do eat whatever I want. There is no restriction and live in my dream body, and it's because I view all food is neutral. Food is literally just a collection of cells in my body. It is the energy at which I'm viewing it that is then creating the reaction in my body.
Yeah, that's incredible, and the same thing with exercise. I know they did a study with maids. Did you ever
Yes,
see that
yes.
study?
Yeah.
Where these maids were, cleaning hotel rooms and some of them were overweight, and they just changed the belief that they were doing enough through
Yeah.
cleaning these hotel rooms to actually lose weight, and then they started losing weight.
Yes, yes. That is I actually created a whole Recode on that that's I'm doing enough because that's a problem that so many people have where they are eating way better than me. They are working out every single day. They are doing so much, but their ultimate belief is I'm not doing enough. So it doesn't matter what you do. If you believe it's not enough, it's not going to be enough and you're not going to see the results and you're creating this reality where it doesn't matter how much you do, it will not work.
Yeah, and it's I feel like people look in the mirror. I don't know if you notice this, but like when I look in the mirror, and I mean I've done a lot of work with this, but it's like we're automatically drawn into the things that we don't like. And we focus on, oh, the cellulite, or my arms are too big, or I don't like my belly. And I think that also all you're doing in that sense is you're feel it's like you're creating it because you're focusing your attention on that. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And like a huge part of my journey, and this was the most emotional thing I've ever done. I remember I started reading the book Mirror Work and I got out a mirror and I was like at the depths of despair at this point. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I told myself that I loved myself. Like I said, I love you looking at myself in the eyes. And it was crazy because like obviously did not feel that way at all. And I'll never forget that moment. Like it was so powerful. And I get all my clients to do mirror work and literally pump yourself. I know it feels weird at first. Get naked, get in front of the mirror, tell yourself you love yourself, pump yourself up. Like I don't care if like you think whatever your normal thoughts are, do it every single day. Like I would stand in front of the mirror naked every single day and I'd be like, I love you. And when I get bloated, I'll just be like, I love you. Like it's okay. Like flow love towards your body. It will reflect that love back to you. Like it will transform so quickly.
Yeah, I actually noticed this with cellulite. It's so
Yes.
funny because I would be so hyper focused on my cellulite and I'd be like, "Oh, I hate this. Like I just go away. I hate this so much." And the second that I started actually being like, "I love you. It's okay. This is normal." it actually started smoothing out. Like, I kid you not, I started noticing changes physically in my body and cellulite just by actually loving it instead of hating it.
Yeah, yeah, it's like what you focus on expands and, like, fueling that emotional feeling of, like, hatred and anger, like, it's only expanding it even deeper in your body, so when you can just drop that resistance, like, that's the acceptance piece, that's, like, the loving where you are piece, like, it just allows everything to change, and if you can implement, the belief long term that your body is naturally thin, you just have, like, been throwing so much, like, distrust at it, and it will transform into how it's meant to be when you're not constantly like highlighting how much it's failing. It's if you have a kid that's like kids are born, naturally perfect, but if you're constantly fixating on don't do like you're doing that wrong, you're ugly, you're like they're not going to become like they're not going to flourish into who they're meant to be. You need to provide like positive, loving conditions and focus on their strengths in order for them to flourish, right? And it's the same with your body.
Yeah, 100%. And the self-talk and the
Yes.
narrative and stuff, right? I know
Yeah.
you're really big into subconscious mind and the reprogramming, and I know it's part of your methodology. For someone that's new to the subconscious, can you just give us a little bit about how that impacts what you're experiencing?
Yeah, 100%. So, when you think about it, your subconscious mind is running every single bodily process in your body, right? It's your metabolism, it's your muscle building, it's your fat burning, it's your hunger levels, it's your hormones, it's every single aspect that is creating your body. So when you start reprogramming your subconscious mind to trust your body, to even elevate your metabolism or focus in on fat burning, like you can change those systems in your body. And that's kind of what I created the Recode app for is like taking the most common limiting beliefs around body and rewiring them so you can feel safe to feel your emotions. So you're not turning to food whenever you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed and you're able to actually connect with your hunger and fullness. And it really is so simple to live in your dream body, but like getting there is a bit of a process of just eliminating the common kind of things that we grew up with of you need to eat less, move more, like that's not actually true. And transforming those beliefs on a deep level because you can say something consciously, but if you're not believing it, it's kind of like with my binge eating disorder. Like I could recognize that I was binge eating consciously and I really wanted to stop, but I could not stop until I was felt completely out of control because your subconscious is running the show, right? It's almost like I would disassociate and drive to all these stores and buy all this food and then I would come to you after and be like, "What happened? How did that even happen?" It's because your subconscious is driving the show. It's driving your reactions, your habits, your behaviors, the way that you are handling what life is thrown at you. So you've got to change those on a subconscious level, and then you will naturally, I always say it's actually effortless when you transform the subconscious mind because you're not using willpower anymore. You're not trying to overcome with your conscious mind and like white knuckle everything and let that energy. It just becomes natural. Once your subconscious is programmed, it's like that's just who you are. It's just normal for you to maybe work out or move your body or honor your hunger and fullness or, maybe go journal or go for a walk instead of diving into the ice cream. Like it's just changing those internal reactions.
Yeah. And for someone that's like maybe been, let's say, overweight or not, they've never felt what it feels like to be in their dream body. I know a big part of manifestation is like, oh, well, you have to feel it or you have to, act as if or believe it before it happens. So if they've never experienced what that's like to feel their dream body and what is your process for that? Like, what do you recommend?
Well, so inside, I have a Recode that's I'm naturally thin. And what I do in the Recodes is I use metaphor to kind of bypass the conscious mind and transform the way that you're feeling. And I feel like the metaphor for this is really good. Is like it's kind of like you're a block of marble, so you would say, and the sculptor comes and the sculpt knows, what's underneath, right? And it's just chipping away at everything that's not that. And it's like you've been seeing yourself as this like block of marble instead of seeing the sculpture that's underneath. And you don't have to feel it, but I think it's just like connecting with yes, there is a version of me within that is, naturally lean and thin that I'm just chipping away these like beliefs that I've cultivated over time. And as I chip away the beliefs, it chips away the weight. That's what I've experienced. And that's a really helpful one for people.
Love
Or
that.
they've liked, where you're almost like wearing a suit, like that this is hard and I'm overweight and all these identities. And it's like you're just taking that suit off. It's so heavy. Like you can release that and you can feel a sensation of relief. And that sensation of relief is gonna lead you towards your dream body.
Oh, I love that.
Mm.
I love that analogy. It's like
Yeah.
it's so easy to actually, like, visualize that
Mm.
and think about that, like, sculpting yourself. So, with the recodes that you've created, how did you develop them? Is it, like, neuroscience stuff? I know you studied a lot of this, so what is your, like how have you developed this, and how does it work on, like, a scientific level? Because we love the proof.
Yes, let's go into the proof. So, how I
Yeah.
designed it is I have been studying limiting beliefs for so long, ever since I discovered it and started the whole dream body process. How it started for me was like I wrote out all my limiting beliefs and then I was like, I'm going to transform these. And that really worked. And then I was like, okay, what is the most efficient, effective way to transform these? And I have tried everything you name it, I've tried it. So I kind of took every single thing that worked for me and turned it into a repeatable process that you can do. So basically, what we do in a recode is it's 22 minutes for a session, and you lay down, you relax, I guide you through. We do about 6 minutes of breath work that brings you into that internally focused state. You're a little bit kind of dreamy. And then I activate the old limiting belief. So it's like the thoughts you're having, I'm overweight, I'm always going to be this way. And everyone is specifically targeted on one batch. We're not overwhelming your brain. So we activate it and we notice where it lives in the body because that is bringing that neural pathway literally online. I think of it as lighting it up. And then we go straight into hypnosis, and the transition from ending breathwork into hypnosis is so smooth. That's why I designed it that way, because I was doing breathwork and I was like noticing after breathwork, I was like, oh, I'm in that state. I'm in that hypnotic state. So then I guide you into the memory reconsolidation portion where we use that metaphor and we're like, okay, let's kind of transform that, change it, bypass the conscious mind. You're in a hypnotic state. You're highly suggestible. Your brain was already, lit up on that old belief. So the memory reconsolidation, when you replace it with something new, like that sculpture metaphor, your brain actually immediately updates. It's like, okay, that's not true anymore. As long as you have a good enough metaphor that shows your brain, wait a second, that actually isn't true. I'm not actually, destined to be overweight or whatever. It will update that pattern. So then we kind of finish out the recode. We do a little future pacing. So you're connecting with that future self. You're kind of feeling the emotions there. And then when you come out of it, I do a quick EFT tapping because that's also something that's been highly effective for me just to clear any remaining resistance. Then you go off on your day. And for the rest of the week, I am like, okay, changing the subconscious mind requires repetition. It requires emotion and, updating that identity file. So this is why I created the app. You have a rise track that you listen to that is corresponding with the belief that we just changed. And that's like a motivating, uplifting, like energizing track that you just listen to on the go, listen to it every morning or whenever you want. And then you have a rest track every night that continues to solidify the belief that we transformed, the metaphor that we used, anchor it all together. And you just listen to it every night as you fall asleep. And then the last piece of it within the app is tracking evidence that your belief is shifting. So I actually have a belief tracker where before you go into the recode, it will ask you, how true does this feel that I'm naturally thin? And it might be like a 2. And then at the end of the week, it's going to prompt you, rate it again. How true does it feel? And on average, my clients are going from like a 2 to a 9 or 10, like within a week, like completely transformed. And the reason why it's so important to track that is because your brain has something called hindsight bias, and you will like transform a belief and then you'll look back and be like, no, I didn't actually think that. I didn't actually believe that. That wasn't actually, how I thought. And you won't actually remember properly. So that's why I have that tracker in there so you can see that it's working. And then every day seeking little pieces of evidence that it's working, it's shifting. You're noticing these little wins, I viewed myself differently in the mirror. Oh, I thought a little differently about food today. And you're stacking evidence that things are changing, that this is working. And I get people to track evidence every single day. And that's the process. That's the app. So ideally you like recode one new belief a week and you focus in on that one belief and you use the repetition and the evidence to like totally change your brain. And I cannot believe how much I started doing my own hot, happy, healed recodes and I lost like another 15 pounds. Like I'm in the best shape of my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, you look incredible.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's amazing, and I love that you've taken all of those things and turned it into, like, a 22-minute experience that can just change your life. I think some people get so overwhelmed with the process, and there's so much information online. It's like what am I supposed to do with this? I've talked about this before, but I like the subconscious mind was I'm like, I get it, but how do you actually change it? It's
Yeah.
like, I understand that, but, and this seems like something that you just go to, you don't have to think about. It's all done for you. Amazing. I think that's going to be incredibly transformative for people. Love
I'm so
that.
excited for it to be like out in the world.
Yeah. Wait, so when are you officially launching this?
It should be in the next 2 weeks. It's almost ready for iOS, hopefully Android right after that. But yeah, I'm just building out the library. So I have a bunch of recodes on money, on body, on relationships, on just manifestation in general, like delusional confidence, quantum leap, like activating a quantum leap, just taking all the most common beliefs that I see and transforming them over the weeks. I can't wait.
Love that.
When I kind of came to this process, I was in a down place probably about 7 months ago. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I was really struggling after kind of becoming a mom and really questioning every aspect of my identity. And thank God that happened, kind of like with the weight gain. It really led me to creating this process. And now I'm like, this was what I'm here to do. This is what I was here to create. It's like a easy system to follow along with every single day. That's always what I've wanted to do, is find, my thing. That's, I can still be creative with
Yep.
all these beliefs, but it's like, it feels so good. So I'm really excited.
I love that. It's so funny how aligned we are because for like the last year, I've been doing audio like recordings for myself of
Mhm.
like rewiring my brain and listening to them in my own voice. And have realized how powerful that is. And
So powerful.
mostly with like just self-love and not abandoning myself, and a lot of like relationship stuff is kind of where I was focusing on. And I realized how incredible it was. So I started actually creating them for my mom, who's been dealing with some health issues. And so she's been listening to them and she's been unlocking so many things. And it's really interesting how when you create that stillness and that quiet and you get your brain into that state, how you can access these memories from your subconscious and how
Yes.
things just start to come up that you didn't realize were suppressed in there for years and years and years. And they can clear like that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just remarkable.
That's the other thing too, is like change can actually happen very quickly once you kind of find that system that works for you. And there's so many things that work. But yeah, it doesn't have to take a long time. Things can start to shift immediately. I have clients that were like within week 2, they're just like, I don't even identify with like having a food issue anymore. I'm good to go. I don't even know who I was when I like, they're like, and they're off to the races. It's like, they don't even need to finish it, because once you hit on those few blocks that have been holding you back and you clean them up and your brain updates that pattern, like it truly does become effortless.
This is going to be so great. We'll have all this information for you guys in the show notes too, because I know so many people are going to be interested in doing this.
Yeah.
And before I let you go, I just want to have some hot takes with you.
Okay.
So let's see. All right. Give me your hottest take on body manifestation. Hot take.
It's really easy. Weight loss is easy. You can eat whatever you want and live in your dream body. It's just about clearing the bleed. It does not need to be hard. It does not need to take a long time. Things can happen very quickly. I think my biggest thing is people are just raised to think weight loss is hard. It takes lots of work and you have to be disciplined. No, it does not require willpower. It requires subconscious reprogramming. So you don't even need to use willpower anymore. And it gets to be so easy and natural and joyful and free.
What is one thing that you share about this topic that gets you in trouble?
Sometimes when I share before and afters, that got me in trouble one time. And I'm still very I still have a bit of trauma around that, because I did share my pregnancy before and after. And then I had 100 positive comments. Of course, I had 3 people that really did not like that. And so, yes,
Like, who are you? Who do you think you are?
yeah. And they literally
Yeah.
never spoke to me again. Like, it was friends. So anyway, that's a little thing that I'm like, but you know what? I really like to see that something works. I like to see before and afters. I like to see that you have proof of the transformation. So that's something like a little sticky that I'm still a little, should I share this? I don't know. Is it okay?
And that's okay because you're living proof. And I think sometimes, like, when those things trigger people, it's for them to look at their own limiting beliefs about that. So you're actually doing them a service because you're pointing to that it can be easy. And I think sometimes that is triggering for people because they're like, well, why is it so hard for me? And it gets to be easy for you. But you're an example of how this work actually does work,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
especially going through pregnancy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What is something that women swear works in the fitness space that you think is a complete waste of time?
Oh, like cleanses. Your body is designed to cleanse itself. I don't know. I'm not about ever. I think a cleanse, all it does is set you up in this deprivation binge cycle. My husband gets so extreme into things. Like when I first met him, so fun. He would go on this watermelon cleanse. I kid you not. I walked into his kitchen and he had 30 watermelons. And that's all he ate for a week. And I'm like, okay, what's that gonna do? Now you're just gonna binge eat for the next 3 months, which is exactly what so yeah, I'm not about extreme. And you know what is interesting on that hot take is if you swear it works for you, yeah, it'll work for you. I think no matter what works, it's your belief behind it that makes it work. I don't think it's ever the thing. I think it's always the belief behind it. That's the hot take.
Yes. And why do you want to punish yourself?
Literally, why do you only
You
want
know, I think that that's the other thing. Why do we want to punish ourselves again? Just goes back to that belief, like I have to work really hard for. And honestly, I think so many beliefs that people have around their body also relate to their beliefs around men and money.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, there's interesting parallels there.
Yeah, it's like receiving, letting it be easy, all
Yeah.
of those. I think, do you notice when people start to change their beliefs about their body that other areas of their life also change?
Yes, yeah. Especially for me as particularly for me, but yeah, for my client, my one of my clients, she when she just was like total transformation in the way she viewed her body, she's an actress and she started booking all these big roles. She let it be easy. She was out in a year-long drought before, like wasn't booking anything. And all of a sudden it's like she let the weight loss be easy and then she let the booking be easy. And then it's just like it all flowed together and it like that's what I want everyone's life to be like. I don't think we're here to struggle and suffer through our lives. I think it really is meant to be easy. But we've got to clear away all of the crap that's kind of keeping you from that ease.
Yes, 1000%. This was wonderful. This was so informative. You are such a powerhouse. I love what you're doing. You're incredible. For the people that are listening, where can they find you? Where can they dive into your work?
Yeah, so Tara Burnett Mindset on Instagram is the best place. And then my app will be launched soon. You can do a 10-day free trial and you can download the app and start recoding right away. So that's so excited. And the
Yeah,
naturally thin one that I talked about with the sculptor, that is inside the Recode app. So you can dive into that one right away if you want.
amazing. We'll have all this for you in the show notes. Tara, thank you so much
Thank,
for your time, for your
thank you so much.
information, for what you're doing. And I'm so excited for everybody to experience your magic.
Thank
Thank you guys for being here. And I will see you all in the next episode.